Are you ready for this one? This one's really hard.
I'm ready.
What's the name Talon Sai? What's the background on it?
The background of the channel name Talon Sai, it actually comes from... What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things. About 3 or 4 days ago, I posted this on my Instagram, right there, where Ashley is pointing to. It has officially been 1 year since I quit my previous job and have been creating content here on YouTube full-time, and it's been a pretty wild journey so far. I know there are a ton of questions in regards to what I used to do and all of my thoughts about how I like doing what I do now. Ashley has my phone with all of the questions that you guys asked me on Instagram, and before I jump into the questions, I kind of want to just get all of the commonly asked stuff out of the way. So a lot of people who are kind of new to my channel don't realize what I did for the first 2.5 years of me creating videos on YouTube. We're just gonna start right from the beginning. So what did I used to do? Do you know what I used to do?
I mean, I know what your job title was, but if you ask me like specifically what you did, no.
I first went to Penn State University. I graduated with 2 degrees, one in information sciences and technology and another in security risk analysis. I used those degrees for about 4.5 or 5 years working as an IT consultant. I've done videos on this in the past, so if you guys want to go find those, I'm sure you can find them somewhere on the channel, but just a brief overview of what I did. It was boring. Like, that's all you really need to know. It was a great paying job for someone my age. I graduated when I was like 22 years old, and since then, that job allowed me to pay for the things that I needed to start my YouTube channel. I bought a computer and a pretty cheap camera, and I used that to kind of build things up along the way. I never started YouTube with the intention to make it a full-time gig, but here we are now, about 3.5 years later. I'm sure a lot of people in there have asked like what made me make the decision to go full-time and things like that, so I guess we'll just jump right into how YouTube has been going for the past year as this being my full-time job. So hit me with the first one.
All right, first off, congrats.
Thank you.
How do you find the motivation day in and day out?
Motivation day in and day out, it's sort of like the sink or swim mentality for anyone starting their own business. My motivation is if I stop making videos or if I'm making stuff that is not up to my liking, chances are you guys won't like it and it's gonna fail. So if I just stop posting altogether, I'll still make a little bit of money like with everything else that I do, but my motivation is just to not fail. All the motivating comments and messages and emails that I get all the time, that also helps with things when you guys are commenting down below saying that whether something has helped you or inspired you or you just found it entertaining, funny, whatever, that's kind of what keeps me going.
Are you happy with what YouTube has brought you?
Yeah. I'm happy with what YouTube has brought me, or I wouldn't have done it in the first place, so definitely happy.
What was the factor that made you decide to go full-time?
See, this is what I was kind of getting into. The factor that made me decide to go full-time was as I was working as an IT consultant, I was traveling a lot. Like every 6 to 9 months, I would pick my life up and move to a different city. And every time I did that, my channel was continuing to grow and I was making more money for myself, not only through YouTube, but through everything else that I kind of have my hands in. It got to a point where I was living comfortably with my income as an IT consultant, and then all of my YouTube money was like side money. And they started to get to a point where, yes, I was making a good living doing IT stuff. And if I lost all of my IT income, I was still making a comfortable living on YouTube. So like I don't need a whole lot of money to live. You know that I live pretty minimal, and the whole van thing that's going on now too, like I don't need a lot to survive. So with what I have with me, just gear, camera stuff, I can continue to make that living. And once it kind of almost evened out, that's when I was like, all right, I'm not happy doing what I'm doing, and I think I would be living a better life if I was doing it on my own terms, working for myself.
What's your favorite part about quitting your corporate job?
Favorite part about quitting my corporate job is not reporting to anyone. I make the rules, I do whatever I want, whenever I want. It's the most freeing thing ever, working for yourself. If anyone out there is an entrepreneur, you already know this. Yeah, that's straight up. It's just awesome.
How do you manage financial things being self-employed?
Managing finances is always kind of difficult. I've been pretty good with money for a long time now, but like I said, I balanced things out with my normal job and then YouTube, so I used my normal job to fund this until this got to a point where I could start funding it on its own. Taxes are a nightmare. I told you how much I paid in taxes. It's disgusting, but it's better living comfortably, making a comfortable living rather than just like being a millionaire, in my opinion. It's just...
And you're happier.
Yeah, I'm definitely happier than I used to be, for sure.
Could you ever see yourself doing side jobs related to your last career to earn extra money?
Could I ever see myself doing side jobs in IT? I could. I actually liked a job before my IT consulting job a little bit more. I was doing like IT support where I could talk with people and I was like hands-on fixing things, so I could do stuff on the side, but YouTube takes up so much time. It's the most time-consuming thing that I do, so I won't be doing that anytime soon, but there is always that fallback sort of plan.
What is the hardest part about your current work?
The hardest part about the current work is time. I mean, how often am I sitting in front of my computer editing at airports, and just now I was editing before this video. Time management is definitely the hardest thing, I think, as of right now, for sure.
What are some things you think about when a company wants to sponsor a video?
When a company wants to sponsor a video, there's a lot of different ways that can happen. If people are just providing product or if they're legit sponsoring. Sponsoring, in my opinion, is like giving money to say, hey, this video is sponsored by X company. There's so many different things to think about, and I think I'll have to save that for another video if you guys like this whole YouTube talk thing. There's just too much to get into with that question.
What was your biggest business mistake to date?
Biggest business mistake to date? Probably not doing it sooner. I made videos all throughout high school, and I had like another channel where I would just post stuff for fun, and I started fresh with this channel just because I was like, all that stuff is really old and I want to kind of like make this into a thing, like a brand, like a TV show, a YouTube channel. And I think if I would have kept at it when I had my channel like a while ago, I was still doing the same type of stuff, but not at the same level. So all of the videos, they were pretty bad compared to what you see now, but I think if I would have started sooner, that would have, I mean, it would put me like 3 years ahead of where I am right now, so who knows. I think that's probably like my biggest mistake, if you can call that a mistake. How
many years devoted to this pursuit before you quit your job?
I was working on this channel for 2 years, I think, or 2.5 years before I actually quit. So yeah, 3 years now, probably like 2.5 years. But like I said, I was making videos for a long time before that, so it wasn't something that was new to me, but actually like creating a brand for myself and things like that, that's what took the longest. So about 2 years.
Number one piece of advice for anyone wanting to follow in your footsteps.
Anyone who wants to start a YouTube channel, I get asked all the time, hey man, I have this really cool idea. Even from people, not that you've ever said this, but girls are like, I want to start a beauty channel. And everyone comes to me with all these ideas and all this equipment that they have and everything. And then my first question is, okay, well, how many videos have you made? And the biggest problem is that everyone has all these ideas, but they don't execute on anything. All I did was I had the idea and I was like, okay, my life's kind of interesting. I can make videos and give out information that I have and make it a regular thing. So I started posting 1 video a week, and I haven't missed in the past 3.5 years now. So to follow in my footsteps is to just do it. So many people talk but don't provide any action behind it. So just do it. It's a bad answer, but it's true.
That's a good answer. What would you do if YouTube was not an option as a job?
If YouTube wasn't an option as a job, like if you couldn't make a living off of it, I would still do it, because I didn't start the channel to make money. I just started it because I enjoy making videos. I like talking with people about things that I'm interested in. So I would probably still be making videos. I would still be working my IT job too, which would suck, but.
Do you ever worry that things would go south as you transition to self-employment?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the biggest concern with going off on your own. I lost all stability, financial stability, health care, any kind of benefits I had at my other job. I have to pick up all that stuff for myself. So it's really going into the unknown, but I knew that I was only putting maybe 50% of my time into YouTube while I had that 100% capability as long as I wasn't working. So when I wasn't working, I was crushing out videos, and now going into it, I was like, I'm gonna dedicate all my time and effort into it, the sink or swim type of thing. Yeah, that's, what was the question again?
Did you ever worry that things would go south?
Yeah, of course. I worried about it, and
you thought about it for a while.
I did. I thought about it for a while.
You considered it for like a solid, like genuinely considered it for like a solid 6 months before you actually
even
did it.
longer than that. I remember when I moved to New Jersey, I had like 75,000 subscribers, and I wasn't making a whole lot of money. Sick truck, bro.
Tiny truck.
I wasn't making a whole lot of money, but I was like, man, I wonder like what the breaking point will be where I can actually screw this job and do it on my own. What's my next big purchase? I mean, the last one was the van, obviously. The next like big purchase will definitely be a house. I don't know when or where.
Don't look at me.
I'm not looking at you. It's not gonna be for a while because I bought the van sort of as like a placeholder until I go and see all the things I wanna see and film all the things I wanna film until I like really need a place to settle down. So as of now, that will be the next big purchase. How'd you get?
Don't cheat. How did you get good at editing videos? How long does it usually take? Forever.
It does not take forever. If you compared what I do to some other people, my videos are quickly edited. I got good at editing just because I used to do it all the time, like I mentioned, and as of now, a typical video, vlogs vary a lot, but if it's like a straight up product video where I'm just kind of giving my thoughts on it, I think start to finish, just editing alone will take 2 to 4 hours maybe. It really depends on what the subject is.
What has been your biggest challenge overall with doing this full time? Are you still facing that?
My biggest challenge overall is just straight up time again. It's super time consuming, and I've gotten way better at managing it because I just like work whenever I have like an hour of downtime, or like she ran out to get coffee and I started editing. So I squeeze things in when I can, and now that I'm on the road, I'm gonna be, well, have been by myself a lot more than ever before. So if ever I'm just chilling alone, I can crush out a lot of work, and yeah, that's about it.
Are you ready for this one? This one's really hard.
I'm ready.
What's the name Talon Sai? What's the background on it?
The background of the channel name Talon Sai, it actually comes from a gamer tag that I had like back in high school. I think it was like a PlayStation gamer tag or maybe Xbox or something. I made the name Talon Sai, and
here we are.
Yeah, here we are. It's there's a lot of funny stories that go along with it too, but I've used Talon Sai as like Instagram handles and stuff like that for a long time, so it's just what it is now.
How has the freedom from the 9-to-5 grind helped you in the creative process? That's a good one.
It is. That is a good question. It makes you way more creative because I'm not spending 8-9 hours a day sitting in front of a desk worrying about getting other people's work done. I have all this time to think about ideas and then execute on them, so it definitely makes me way more creative than I used to be. I think you can kind of tell with the content as well if you look back, like when I was living in Jersey or when I was living in Miami, a lot of those videos were just kind of like right after work I'd run home and film. So now with all of this extra time that I got from quitting my job, I can use that to be way more creative than ever.
Do you miss having a 9-to-5, or does YouTube keep you busy enough?
Obviously, I'm gonna keep saying it, it's a time suck and I don't miss my job at all. There's like a few things that I might miss, but we'll probably get some questions about that.
What is something you've learned that you wish you had known when you first got started on your own?
I can't think of anything specific, but the whole YouTube space and this type of like starting your own business online. There's so many unknowns and it's constantly a learning experience. So it's hard to kind of pinpoint just one thing. I learn new things all the time and I can't really pinpoint one exact thing.
How did your family react when you told them you were quitting your job for YouTube?
My family was pretty supportive. I kind of like told people in waves. I told my close family, and then I told my close friends, and then I just made that video, and then everyone kind of found out. I still run into people who are like, yo, what are you doing now? I was like, I just make videos full time, and they still don't know. So most of them were accepting, and yeah, it's good.
What is your next 1 to 3 year plan and goals?
1 to 3 years. I mean, this past year went super fast.
Super fast.
So 1 to 3, I plan on doing the same thing. More traveling, more videos with other content creators. That's pretty much it. Just kind of keep growing things. Like, I'm never gonna run out of content. I have a list on my phone just like filled with ideas and reviews and how-tos and trips and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna keep on doing what I'm doing.
Looking back on the last year, knowing what you know now, is there anything you would do differently?
I don't think so. I really don't have any like big regrets that I can think about.
What was the hardest part about getting your channel off the ground?
There really is no hard part. I mean, I just consistently made videos. I wasn't worried about the channel growing and it being like the next big thing, because it's not, but I was never really worried about getting it off the ground. I started making videos to just show what I was doing and talk about things that I'm into and document all the stuff that I was doing with my friends. It just continued to grow into what it is now, so that's about all I got for that.
Was there a 1 year goal you set before quitting your job, and did you meet it? Is there a 5 year goal?
I didn't really have a 1 year goal. Actually, yeah, my 1 year goal was to just do it, sink or swim, and it's been great so far. So that was kind of like my main goal, super broad. But a 5 year goal, I mean, like the 1 to 3 question, I just kind of want to keep doing what I'm doing. 5 years from now, it's going to be so hard to tell because of how much YouTube changes, but I just want to keep networking and keep meeting new people, which brings new opportunities to expand on what I'm doing now, and that's kind of where things are going right now.
We'll be over 30 in 5 years. I'm just throwing that out there.
30 years old.
What's more stressful, YouTube job or a regular job?
Regular job, for sure.
I think it's a different kind of stress.
It is, you're right.
I think it's a different kind of stress.
I would much rather have the stress that I have now than I had back then, because this stress is all on me. I can handle it however I see fit. At my previous job, when you have people breathing down your neck and things aren't going right and there's a lot of factors that you can't directly take control of, that is more stressful to me. I like being in control of things that are going on, so.
This is actually one for me.
One for you?
One for me.
Let me read it.
You right there.
I'm curious to hear Ashley's thoughts on dating someone who does what you do for a living. How is it dating a YouTuber?
On dating someone who does what you do for a living? It's different. I'll say that. It's different. It's just different. Like, I like where I live, he likes where he's at. We're able to support each other in like what we're doing. So dating someone who travels as much as he does is nice because I can kind of travel with him when I get the opportunity. I think it just takes a level of understanding from both sides, honestly. Do you ever get bored?
Do I ever get bored? Not really. If I do get bored, it's a problem. And if I am bored, it's probably because whatever I'm doing means I can't make videos, whether I'm like, I don't know. I don't get bored very often.
How did you persevere? I feel like I would be too worried about the numerous unknown risks.
There are a lot of unknown risks, like I mentioned, and I mean, it's just one of those things. I didn't want to keep growing the channel like half-ass all the time. I wanted to put all my time and effort into it, and if I was still kind of on that fence, I mean, it eventually would have tipped. The hardest thing is just taking that first step. I didn't want to never take it, and then for some reason the channel just kind of falls off because I was too busy at my normal job. So I wanted to tackle it while I could and not look back in 5 years after continuing to work my job and go, man, what if I would have kept making YouTube videos? I wonder what I could have done that's been cool or whatever. So.
Are you saving for retirement?
Yeah.
Because you're getting old.
I'm not that old. Yeah, of course. I've been saving. I had a 401k at my other job, so I had to roll that over into different accounts. I invest money. I don't really talk about money a whole lot, about what I do and like how much I make and stuff like that, but to me, money isn't everything. It definitely buys you freedom, and it helps me make videos. To answer the question, yeah, of course I'm saving for retirement, and I'm financially okay as of now.
Did you ever have second thoughts after quitting? If so, what made you keep on track?
I never had second thoughts, actually. One thing that I did kind of miss about the job was being on a schedule, because right now, like I've said, time is just crazy, and waking up every single day at the same time and getting to work is what keeps me on track a lot of the time. So I typically wake up early. Now that I'm traveling a lot, it's not always the same, and I'm filming at weird times and doing things that I don't normally do at different times of the day.
Plus you're in different time zones.
Different time zones
all the
too.
time.
So that's one thing that is kind of, that I miss, like that form of stability, but other than that, I don't really miss anything.
If you had to start YouTube all over from scratch and no one knew you, how would you do it?
I would do it the exact way I started it. I would just make videos like I have been, and yeah, that's it.
How has life changed since pursuing what you love full time?
It allows me to do the things that I want to do. It just gives me freedom. It's kind of repetitive, I mean, saying the same thing over and over again, but when I was stuck at my job, I couldn't do anything that I've done in the past year. Like, it was just stuck to weekend trips and taking vacation days, which I only had 10 of, which is absurd. Just the freedom is awesome.
Average amount of time invested in creating one of your videos. Many don't know what's involved.
So it depends on the videos, but typically like an electric skateboard review or like a gun review, those take at least one day to film and then another day to edit. So, I mean, there's time that goes into everything between getting products and researching what I actually want to hit on and spending a little bit of time with it before testing it. I would say one video would take like 2 days of work. Not working 48 hours, but I would say it takes a solid 2 days of work to get absolutely everything in order, from the idea to the finished uploaded product.
How often does YouTube issue out checks, or how does that work?
That's a good question, because that's something that people probably don't know, but I get paid once a month through YouTube. It's direct deposit, and it fluctuates a lot based off of who's watching, where they're watching. There's a million different factors that go into it. There's a lot of unknown. That's one of the big unknowns, is you never really know how much you're gonna make or when that is gonna come, but it's normally at the end of the month.
What is your least favorite thing about doing this full time?
My least favorite thing is, I want to say editing. I enjoy editing. Like, if I'm sitting down at my desk, headphones in, I like editing, but at the same time, I enjoy filming stuff more. So, actually no, answering emails. My least favorite thing is answering emails and DMs, and it's not that it's a hassle, it's I don't like getting all of that because I want to respond to everyone, I want to talk to everyone, but I can't. So my least favorite thing is stuff like that, like when people are asking me legit questions like through an email and I'm like running through an airport or doing whatever, I'm like filming something, I can't take the time to answer everyone. So being like stretched really thin in that aspect is probably one thing that I don't like about the whole YouTube deal.
How did you gain followers? Was it a fast or slow growth?
It was a relatively slow growth. I was doing a lot of skiing videos and just like partying and whatever with my friends, and then it slowly built up till I was about the 10,000 mark, and then I had one video get picked up by like every outlet ever and it went viral, and then I saw like a little explosion of growth there, and then I started to change my content more, and then the graph just started going up a little bit more, and it sort of exponentially grows after that. Every once in a while a video will just do very well compared to others. You don't know when or why, but yeah, it was pretty normal growth.
Was doing YouTube full-time worth it financially?
Yes. like I said, money is not everything, and just the fact that I can do what I love and be living a comfortable life, I'm cool with that.
What are the biggest challenges of YouTube and balancing camera life with personal private life?
You guys don't see a lot of my personal life. A lot of people who meet me only like talk about all the hobbies and stuff that I'm into because that's all that I put out there. You don't see Ashley very often in videos because, not that you don't want to be in front of the camera, but whenever I'm working, I don't like filming all the time. I typically always have my camera with me, but I don't always record stuff because you gotta kind of keep that separation.
Did you prepare for the transition by saving a bunch beforehand?
Yeah, I made sure that I had enough money saved up where I could live comfortably for a year if I made absolutely nothing, which in today's day and age, to go an entire year without making any income at all is absurd. There's so many ways to make money out there, especially on the internet. Just like buying and selling stuff, getting rid of old shit that you don't need. Like, I've sold so much stuff before buying my van and traveling around, and it didn't even put a dent. Didn't make a dent in all of the stuff and things that I have. And stuff and things isn't about materialistic stuff, it's about experiences and things like that. But yeah, I did have money saved.
What viewership level did you get to from YouTube before making the jump to full-time? I think, like, how many subscribers did you have before you did?
I mean, when I quit, I had like 200,000 subscribers, roughly. It was just after that. And then, I mean, it really comes down to everything else that you have your hands in. I mean, my income is so dispersed. I have like a bunch of different, like, tiny little streams of income. Like selling merch was one for a while, but I don't think there's a specific viewership level. I know people with a lot smaller channels than mine that went full-time when they had like 10 to 100,000 subscribers, so it really depends on how you play the game.
To go along with that, what's the magic subscriber number before things go on autopilot with subscribers? There
is no magic number. You hope that things grow exponentially, which is pretty normal, but there is no magic number. It's just, you just gotta keep putting in the work.
Honestly, the greatest question I have is how is living in the van versus living in a house or an apartment?
Van's awesome. I love the van.
I like the van.
She likes the van too.
Which is saying a lot.
So my thought process, which I explained this before, but it was either buy a house, like my next big purchase will probably be, or buy a van and travel. And because I bought the van and travel now, that's why I'm able to make content all over the place. Like right now we're in Nashville, Tennessee. Tomorrow I'll be in Denver, Colorado. When you're watching this, I don't know where I'll be. And that is, it's great. I got rid of a lot of the stuff that I don't need, and I'm living more minimal than ever. Just still living out of backpacks and whatever is in my van, and yeah, it's great.
What's the long-term goal in the event YouTube stops paying out?
Actually, someone asked me this the other day. I think my long-term goal now would be to get into like marketing some more. I've built relationships by networking with a lot of different companies that I'm like personal friends with now, and I have a really good understanding of what works and what doesn't work, and that is constantly changing as well. I also have the fallback plan of like doing IT stuff again, like just refresher courses, and I could very easily get back into what I was doing with the experience that I have. For now, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to keep making videos.
Did you think you would end up so successful? P.S. Love the videos. Keep up the great work.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I think success is sort of like a situational thing. Success to me is doing what you want whenever you want, and most entrepreneurs and people who do work for themselves generally say the same thing. So in that aspect, I would say, yeah, I'm successful, and I didn't plan on it, like I mentioned, but it's awesome.
Have you set personal goals for the year to motivate yourself through slow or tough times?
I have not. The last video that we did together where we sat down like this, I talked about my goals. I'm not worried about numbers of subscribers and analytics in that aspect, as long as I'm making videos and still living the life that I want to live, then I'm cool with that. So I don't really have any like set goals right now.
How do I convince my family that getting a degree isn't the only way to make a living?
Ooh.
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Show them this video. Share this video with them. Hopefully I answered some of the questions that kind of make people understand that getting a degree is super important, but a lot of people who are in college getting degrees and things like that go into debt to do it. And then I think that is the dumbest thing to do.
I just think it's hard. Like, if people don't want to go to college, they just go and then they go through the motions and they're not doing something that like makes them happy, and that's terrible.
Yeah, it's so individual based. Like, I mean, blue collar jobs alone, like be an electrician, be a plumber, do stuff with your hands, make something that people want to buy and sell it, or flip products. Like, there's so many things that you can do, especially by leveraging the internet. I can't stress that enough, how important building something on the side of what you already do is. But the first thing you got to do is just make sure you're not in debt. So if your family thinks that spending $60,000 to get a piece of paper that says that you showed up for 4 years and can do some kind of work, maybe that's important to them, maybe that's important to you. But if you know that you have something going already, something that, one, if it's profitable already, keep doing that. I know it's hard to go against what your mom or dad or anyone in your family might think, but a lot of times, if you're not living in their house and they're not paying for your life and what you're doing, sometimes you just gotta go with your gut and do whatever makes you happy, and hopefully, I mean, you'll find out if it'll work sooner than later.
That's it?
That's it. That's all the questions. That was a lot. That was a lot of talking.
It was a lot of talking.
All right, well, there you guys have a little bit of background on what I did and how YouTube has been going for the past year. I don't really have anything else to say because I said everything in this video.
A couple times.
A couple times. I can't thank you guys enough for the support, you who have been here for the past year and before that, or even if you're new to the channel. I appreciate all of you. I have to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the channel on Patreon. That is something that I don't push very often because it's sort of unnecessary, but the community we've built there allows people to kind of hang out with like-minded individuals, and it's really cool. So if you want to check that out, I will leave a link in the description. It's always down there. I'm also gonna start something called the Patron of the Month, where I have all of the extra gear that you guys see in videos, and I'm gonna pick one person a month and give it away. But don't call it a giveaway because Patreon doesn't like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna try to keep doing what I'm doing and give back to the people who support the channel the most. That's it. That's all I got.
I got nothing.
Nothing at all? Well, if you're new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every week, and that's not stopping.
Anytime soon.
I'll check back in another year and probably say the exact same things that I'm saying right now.
Right here.
All right, thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.